help desk software, payment software, email marketing tools, CMS and blogging tools, SEO tools, deal management tracking, pipeline tracking. You don't need more tools to get more out of your business. You just need HubSpot. Their all-on-one customer platform is a dream come true for every member of your team, with best-in-class campaigns and workflows to generate more leads for marketing, category-leading pipeline management to help sales close more deals, powerful AI chatbots, and a knowledge base to help service teams scale, and it's built to deliver results and revenue faster to help your business grow. So dump the disconnected tools and the chaos that comes with them. Discover what HubSpot's all-on-one platform can do to streamline your business. Visit HubSpot.com to grow better today. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday, June 13th. I'm John Weigell here with Juliet, Bennett, Ryla, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. We finally reached the apex of AI culture with the introduction of an AI beauty pageant. Miss AI is a pageant that judges its contestants on the counts of looks, AI engineering, and the AI avatar's social media numbers, of course. So, is this realistically doing anything for anyone, or are we just having another Blade Runner-tinged dystopian nightmare today? We'll chat about that in a bit, but first, let's give you the hits and headlines in business and tech. To start us off here, YouTuber Jake Paul is launching a new men's skincare line, W, at Walmart, but who isn't nowadays? The body wash, body spray, and deodorant are priced under $10, and it will be also sold on Amazon, adding to the wave of celebrity products you didn't know you were buying. Next, Denmark recalled several Samyang ramen flavors for being just too spicy. Authorities said the capsaicin levels in one ramen packet were high enough to cause, quote, acute poisoning, and that is exactly how I like my spice levels.
That's too much for ramen. I feel like if you're going to have that much spice level, you've got to be like, I'm on hot ones, or you're like doing some sort of like ghost pepper challenge.
What I usually do is I mix the hot ones with the not hot ones, so that kind of cancels out. So you get a little spice, but not too much, like the bulldog ramens.
Oh, I see. That makes sense. It's kind of like when you're eating shishito peppers and you know like 1 in every 10 is going to be real hot.
Yes, it's like a Russian roulette that way. Okay, over to more recall news. Waymo's woes continue as the company is recalling and updating the software for all 672 of its driverless vehicles after an error, quote, assigned a low damage score to a telephone pole, causing one of its cars to crash. Okay, over to the gaming universe. Metallica's next venue is actually Fortnite, where musicians including Ariana Grande and Travis Scott have previously played. Fans can check out the metal band's virtual concert on June 22nd and 23rd. I've never played Fortnite, Juliet, but Digital Master of Puppets sounds pretty awesome to me.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of into it. I've also never played Fortnite, but I do think there's been kind of a lot of crossover lately with artists in the digital space. You know, we've had these other artists perform in Fortnite and on Roblox. I was surprised to learn when I went to the Diablo 4 launch party that Halsey did a song for the video game.
That's right, she did.
Yeah, so I don't know. If you want to stay relevant with the generations, then I guess, go on Fortnite. I think Metallica in particular is one of those bands that has been able to do that because obviously like Gen X loves Metallica, grew up with Metallica. Millennials often grew up with Metallica. And then, you know, Stranger Things used the Master of Puppets songs and
right.
And, you know, a scene that was really great. So everyone's like, oh, yeah, I want to listen to Master of Puppets. And now it's like, I will get the kids in Fortnite.
Yeah. And, you know, Metallica's done a great job, as you mentioned. Also, the most ubiquitous shirt in the entire world is likely a Metallica shirt where you can find it
True.
any store that sells any clothes ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is another step by them to reach those kids. And finally, Sony finished up a deal to acquire Alamo Drafthouse yesterday. Included in that deal will be the Fantastic Fest Film Festival. Hollywood studios have been banned for quite a while from purchasing theaters, but that changed in 2020 and Sony Entertainment just capitalized on it. Juliet, what does this tell us about the theater market?
Well, I think the theater market was not doing so hot. I know pre-pandemic, I was going to my Alamo a lot, actually. Not even for movies. I was going to karaoke every Wednesday. They did karaoke there. And then it was the pandemic. And now, I don't know. I don't know what happens at Alamo. I haven't been there in a long time. I think for a lot of people, it really is a matter of, well, you know, I'm going to pay $18, $22 to go to the movie at Alamo. And then, of course, you want to do the dine-in thing because that's the whole Alamo experience. And by the time all is said and done, you've spent $50, $60 to watch a movie that you could have watched at home. or that's going to be out in 4 days. So I think the fact that the studios are kind of taking over these movie theaters is really interesting. Netflix now owns the Egyptian in Los Angeles, which is, a famous movie theater. It's where Alien premiered, I believe. I don't know. I think it's a lifeline for the theater, but also I think time will tell if it's the correct lifeline for the theater. Like, will going to the Alamo Drafthouse now that Sony owns it be the same as going to the old Alamo, or are there going to be new weird things that people aren't going to like? That's my big question.
I don't know. It is kind of smart to me that these Hollywood studios are getting into the theater business because, as you just mentioned, they're not doing too hot right now. Mm-hmm. Theater attendance is kind of waning unless you have a big blockbuster Dune Part 2-esque movie.
Right.
But I guess the goal is here to revitalize the theaters, and they may need help from studios just to do that. So we'll see what kind of investment Sony makes in Alamo Drafthouse and if your Wednesday karaoke nights are still existing.
Yeah, bring him back, Sony. Call me. I'll KJM.
We know they have the music. We know they have it.
And the other thing, too, that I think is interesting, and we'll see how this plays out, because Netflix is obviously a streaming first platform. And if Netflix or Apple or any of these other, streaming first platforms want to win an Oscar, I believe they have to have a theatrical debut now.
It's true.
So if these studios want to win an Oscar, they've got to put the movie in the theater. If Netflix owns the theater, it can put its movie in that theater. I believe it actually premiered David Fincher's The Killer at the Egyptian that it bought. So interesting to see what studios that aren't streaming first are going to do. But I do think it opens up a lot of opportunity for some of those immersive screenings that we've been talking about recently.
Yeah.
A lot of different possibilities for them.
Yeah, a lot of opportunity there. Okay, and on to the main story today. AI pageants are on the discussion board today as Miss AI is generating a ton of buzz online. We all know kind of how a pageant works, but Juliet, so where is this one happening and what makes it so different from all the others?
Well, this one is obviously happening only on the internet because that is where these women exist, only on the internet. The platform in question is a platform called FanView, which I had never spent any time on. And I was interested to find out that it is a platform where influencers can have subscriptions like Patreon or OnlyFans. And it allows not only adult content, which is, something that OnlyFans kind of has the market on, but also AI influencers. Most platforms require you to be a real person, and FanView does not. So that is super interesting.
Yeah, and this kind of falls into that similar wavelength of VTubers and the streamers and video creators that are real people behind generated characters. But these are a bit different because they're kind of presented as AI influencers. And how do they look, in your opinion?
That is actually really fascinating. So there are 10 finalists of Miss AI. There are apparently 1,500 submissions, and these are the top 10. I looked at all of them. And what's really interesting is some of them do look a little bit like maybe if I just saw a photo of one, I would assume it was a real person that had been photoshopped, because the skin is perfect and so dewy and every hair is in place.
Right.
Some of them look a little uncanny valley in videos, like the way that they move their hands when they talk and the way that the speech is kind of robotic and doesn't quite match the mouth. Like in those videos, I can definitely tell okay, this is not a real person. But there is one of them. Her name is Lalina. And she was apparently created to look as realistic as possible. And if you go to her Instagram page and you look at photos of that one, I would not be able to distinguish her from a real person.
Wow.
That was pretty impressive. I didn't scroll enough to find any videos of this character, but I was like, wow, if you showed me this picture, never in a million years would I think that's AI generated.
Wow. And just looking at it now, you're very right. It looks hyper realistic. And I don't know, she doesn't look like she got incredible skincare done in Korea just before this photo shoot. So it looks really good. She
has like texture to her skin and, she doesn't have unrealistic body proportions. I mean, she's obviously very thin and beautiful and fit, but she really looks like a real person.
Yeah, it looks like portrait mode on her Instagram right there.
Yes.
But looks, though, aren't the only thing in this pageant that are being judged, although they are, and I guess that's kind of weird. But what other things are the judges kind of looking at in this AI pageant?
So they're going to look at the tech that was used to build them. There's no limitations on the tech. You can use whatever generating software you want, go ahead. But they're going to look at how you built the character, the avatar. And then also their clout on social media. So how many followers do they have and how do they keep those followers engaged? What kind of content are they putting out? What kind of back and forth is there between the character and the people on social media? So, which, makes sense. If it's an AI influencer, then it's got to be a character that is compelling enough to get people to talk to it, even though it's not real.
Right. Yeah. The influencer must influence, obviously.
Right.
And so with this pageant, I personally probably cannot figure out a clear-cut winner out of these 10.
Right.
But when there is a winner chosen, what does the creator win?
They're going to get $5,000. And also the top 3 will receive PR mentorship for a period of time. So
Okay. Fascinating.
you can't really give them a scholarship to university like a real pageant contestant because they're a robot.
Yeah, right. And they were created by a very, very smart individual already, probably.
Although I would potentially watch a movie about a robot that had to blend in at school and then was like the Steve Buscemi, hello, fellow humans. I would maybe watch that.
That would be really fun. I would really like that. So also, why is this even happening? I mean, obviously, I think people are looking to generate more realistic AI imagery. We've been talking about that for the past year, pretty much. But why a pageant and why do this?
Yeah, like at first blush, I was like, wow, what a dystopian way to once again replace real people. But then I was like, why do we even have beauty pageants for human beings in the first place? You know, they originated with Phineas T. Barnum, who's the circus guy. I was reading on PBS, he liked to have a good judging. Dogs, flowers, babies, whatever. Here's a bunch of them. You pick the best. I think we as humans like to rank things. I mean, we all sit on Letterboxd or whatever, and we organize our Fast and Furious movies in the order of which we think they were the best. So it's just something we naturally do. I think in the case of this, you know, AI is a technology just like any other. People have coding competitions. This is just an AI competition. And I think for FanView, it's a way to generate a lot of press and publicity because it is a platform that allows people to create AI influencers. We're seeing a rise in AI influencers. Some people are in it for the novelty, and some people really do like engaging in what they think is a creative endeavor. There's one guy who actually has a contestant placed in the AI, Hamid Saray, and his contestant, she is an AI bot that was developed because he wanted an influencer to wear his jewelry and, you know, be a brand spokesperson for his jewelry. And he found human beings to be too expensive and too demanding. And here's something that I think we're all going to be unpacking in the future. The AI bot he built doesn't talk back. It does whatever he wants. Whatever he wants her to say, do, where, she'll do it because she's a robot and has no agency.
Right.
Until she does. And then it's going to be a scary day for him.
Yeah. Easy to manage, I guess, is the biggest thing that's kind of frightening about this for, I just feel like the modeling and influencer industry as a whole, because how can you compete with something that doesn't ask for more money and looks that good or will eventually look that realistic?
Right.
But we've seen influencers of this variety online. Are they working? Do they work?
I mean, that's hard to say because there are some studies out there where people are like, yeah, I would buy a product that an influencer told me to buy. 46% of Gen Zers, according to one survey, say that they'd be more interested if a brand worked with AI influencers. And I don't know if that's just because they want a brand that's like hot on the newest tech or they really want to be influenced by robots. There's a lot of interesting factors at play here because when you think about a human influencer is also very beautiful in an unrealistic way.
True.
A lot of influencers have had BBLs. You will never get the body they have unless you too get a BBL. Their entire lives are about looking good. They have fillers, they have cosmetic treatments, they have makeup, they have airbrushing. They don't really look like that. Their lives are not really that perfect. They don't really eat these curated little meals and go on these little trips and have these perfect lives. Like their lives are presented to you in a way that is super fake. And you have all these people trying to be like them and buying the things that they claim that they use. And that's not really the thing they use. And like they're both fake, but in a different way.
In different ways.
You know?
Both attack authenticity in a very different way, I guess.
Right. So if you're the kind of person that's going to go out and spend $200 on a skincare routine because your favorite influencer who gets a lot of facials and skincare treatments that you can't afford claims that's how she got her perfect skin, which is also airbrushed, by the way, then maybe you are the kind of person that is also going to go out and buy $200 worth of skincare. That's something Without Skin tells you to buy. Like, I don't know. That seems like a you problem.
Yeah. I mean, and overall, I feel like we live in a constant state of first influencers, maybe in 2010, were a big deal and were able to influence people to buy things very easily. Now, I guess a lot of people are seeing that, oh, you know, you're basically just trying to sell me things. I guess the next frontier is to buy things from AI bots and then eventually figure out, oh, hey, you're just trying to sell me things. You don't like me for me.
Yeah.
So I think we are just kind of locked in that cycle of playing along until discovering something and then playing along with something else. So this seems to be the next iteration in that.
Right. And then the other side of it is like, if you're a brand trying to work with an influencer, then to me, it means like, if you are a tech company and you want to work with an AI influencer, that's sort of interesting because you're like, hey, look what I could build with my tech, or look what we did with this thing. But if you're a brand and you're just like, I want something that I don't have to pay, that won't have demands, I don't know. That seems like, I don't know, maybe you need to go back several decades before we had unions. It seems like you want to exploit labor and maybe look within.
Yeah, agreed. I can't think of a better way to end. All right, and that'll do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go get yourself signed up at thehustle.co/email, and we'll see you tomorrow.